Stop what you're doing. These three running backs are going to be the absolute keys to winning your fantasy football league in 2025. I played in a lot of leagues. I've drafted thousands of fantasy football teams. I've done a lot of research, and I feel quite confident that these three running backs, Amarian Hampton, Caleb Johnson, and Tank Bigsby, are going to be the keys in 2025. Let's start with a stat that might blow your mind. 57% of first-round rookie running backs deliver at least one top 12 fantasy football season in their first 4 seasons. Rookie running backs over the last decade have averaged 240 touches per season. That is why we are going to begin with Amarian Hampton. Hampton was a truly unbelievable player in North Carolina. 1,600 rushing yards his final season, 4.35 yards after contact average, 73 missed tackles force at the University of North Carolina. The Chargers took him with the 22nd pick of the NFL draft, and his comps are actually outrageous. If you put his draft capital at pick 21, you have Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, Cam Akers, Jonathan Stewart. A lot of you might be too young to remember just how unbelievable Jonathan Stewart was, one of the best running backs I've ever seen. Funnily enough, because we're going to talk about Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne, who was awesome his first year in the NFL, J.K. Dobbins, Le'Veon Bell, and the University of Miami's all-time rusher, Duke Johnson. He really, I can't overstate how good he was. He had 79 runs of over 15 or more yards. He ranked second in college football in total yards after contact, top 5 in breakaway runs. Per fantasy points yards created model, he was top 4 in all these metrics in the entire class. That includes Ashton Genty, Caleb Johnson, who we're about to talk about. What I really like about Hampton is that he weighs 221 pounds, ran a 4.46, real receiving ability. I think that is oftentimes a little bit underlooked with these guys who are so big. We expect them to come in the NFL and just right away be these early down rushers, which I think Hampton is, of course, going to be for the Chargers. But look how strong of a receiver he was. Earned 43 targets. By the way, handled pass blocking pretty well. Actually ran some routes out of the slot. 1.4 yards per route run his final season at the University of North Carolina for a 221-pound running back. That is really strong. I also expect him to basically immediately take control of the Los Angeles Chargers backfield. Davis, how could you? This is what Najee Harris looks like right now, guys. Najee Harris showed up 90 degrees in California wearing a hoodie, wearing these glasses. I mean, all that's missing is a seeing eye dog. Najee Harris is on the non-football injury list right now. Is he going to stay on the non-football injury list? Well, I don't know. You don't know. I would guess that he probably will for a while, but the largest thing here is that Amarian Hampton is a truly great NFL prospect. He's playing behind this awesome Chargers offensive line with Sean Slater and Joe Alt. I think there's a reasonable chance we view the Chargers offensive line as the best in the NFL or the second best in the NFL by the end of the season. He's getting all the reps with ones in the training camp. I think it's absolutely a massive deal. Now we have to talk about another guy that I absolutely love in Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson didn't run the 40 we wanted. Let's just be real. He ran a 4.57 40 at the combine. But he landed in what I think is a perfect situation. Maybe you don't think it's a perfect situation. But if we take Amarian Hampton, let's say you have to take him in the 3rd round. In a lot of leagues, I think you are going to be able to get him in the 4th. But we need to be looking to add a second running back. Caleb Johnson in a lot of leagues is going to be available in the 7th round. Maybe you'll even have to reach and take him in the 6th. But the Pittsburgh Steelers took him in the 3rd round. They have Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell on the roster. Those guys are smaller scat backs. Caleb Johnson, one of the most efficient rushers in a bad Iowa offense that I've ever seen. 4.42 yards after contact average and 66 missed tackles forced. He generated a 56.1 breakaway rate. All of those numbers per carry better than our boy Amarian Hampton. And I think that this is what Arthur Smith wants. I think that Arthur Smith loves a one-cut downhill runner. But Jalen Warren is 5'8", 215. Caleb Johnson is big, tall, absolutely built like a sledgehammer. And look at these Arthur Smith offenses. Arthur Smith has always wanted to run the ball. When he has called plays, his teams have finished 3rd in rushing yards, 2nd in rushing yards, 31st. But look at the running backs on this team. This is kind of neither here nor there, but it's just absolutely hilarious to me. Cordarrelle Patterson, Mike Davis, Wayne Gallman, Kadre Olison, and Keith Smith were the running backs when the Atlanta Falcons finished 31st in the NFL in rushing yards. The 2022 Atlanta Falcons, first in rushing attempts, third in yards. The 2023 Falcons, third in attempts, ninth in rushing yards. The 2024 Pittsburgh Steelers, fourth in attempts, 11th in rushing yards. I think Aaron Rodgers is certainly a floor raiser for this offense. And I also think Caleb Johnson is honestly just a truly awesome player. He's got some interesting comps. Guys like Mikel LaShore, who never took off in the NFL due to injury. Zach Moss, who was never good until he moved to Indianapolis. Carlos Hyde, who was more of a pass catcher but had sustained NFL success. Tank Bigsby, who we're actually about to talk about. Le'Veon Bell, Amir Abdullah, Jeremy Hill. I think that Caleb Johnson is probably a titch better than those guys. I've got quite a funny statistic here with Caleb Johnson. For the 2024 Iowa Hawkeyes, the team passed for 1,711 yards. Scrimmage yards for Caleb Johnson, 1,725. More scrimmage yards for Caleb Johnson than the team had passing. I have never in my life seen a statistic like that. His redraft ADP, Sleeper, ESPN, CBS, Underdog, Drafters, wherever you play, is right about running back 26. Some places he's a little bit higher. Some places he's a little bit lower. I personally am not scared of Jaylen Warren. If it was going to happen for Jaylen Warren, I think we probably would have seen it by now. Not only do I expect him to take over by October, I think he might just take over by September. I think that there's a real chance that we just see Caleb Johnson as the week 1 starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A quick thank you to our sponsor over at Drafters. Promo code Davis is going to get you a deposit bonus over there. They have a big best ball tournament, the main event. You can hop over there, win $500,000, and I'd like to see you over there in that pool. The final guy we're going to talk about, look, we talked about a 4th round pick. We talked about a 6th, 7th round pick. Let's get you a sleeper. One of my favorite sleepers this year is one Mr. Cartavius Tank Bigsby of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the worst running back in the NFL in 2023. Look at that 52.3 PFF offensive grade. Absolutely brutal. 1 run over 20 yards, a 0% breakaway rate. Last year for the Jacksonville Jaguars, we saw Tank Bigsby with a 31% breakaway rate. He generated 3.74 yards after contact average, forced 46 missed tackles. 46 missed tackles on 168 rushes. All of those numbers compared to his teammate, Travis Etienne. Fewer missed tackles forced, worse breakaway rate, way worse PFF run grade. He was, frankly, Etienne at 3.7 yards per carry in the same offense, while Bigsby averaged 4.6, one of the worst running backs in the NFL. Not only do I expect Bigsby to be the best fantasy value in the Jacksonville Jaguars backfield, I expect him to easily outproduce Travis Etienne. Now, don't get me wrong. I quite like Byshell Tootin, and it was sort of a real Sophie's choice. Do I include Tootin? Do I include Bigsby? Do I make it 3 rookie running backs? I think you should draft Byshell Tootin all the time. But I look at my friend Mike Clay's projections over on ESPN.com. This is one of the projection sources that I like the most. He actually has Bigsby projected to be the lead rusher on the team. 161 rushes, 705 yards, 5 touchdowns. I expect that Tootin will probably play better on passing downs and play more often. Even going back to college, we did not see Bigsby really as a pass catcher. I also don't think Etienne will last the season. You can see a consistent trend for Etienne. One, he's gotten worse every year he's been in the NFL in terms of yards after contact average, missed tackles forced per rush, breakaway rate. But frankly, I expect that Etienne really will just not be playing for this team in 2025 after a certain rate. You could draft Etienne. Look, don't let me stop you from taking anyone you want to take. But I think in terms of total cost right now, Bigsby with his 168 rushes, 766 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns last year, he was just straight up better than Etienne. We've got Tootin. We've got LaQuint Allen. Bigsby's still the biggest guy on the roster. Right now, he's between the running back 46 and running back 50, depending where you are drafting. I think that Bigsby is really, in a day and age where it's truly hard to find sleepers, there's a chance you can take the Jacksonville Jaguars running back with your final pick in the draft. So this is how I'm drafting them. Hampton, round 3, my sensors are up. I want to start taking him there. Caleb Johnson in round 6 or 7. He's sort of your perfect running back 2 on a wide receiver heavy build. Tank Bigsby fits absolutely every build. I want to have Bigsby on almost all of my redraft teams. He's one of the guys I can go in against my buddies and feel really strong about drafting against him. The data is very clear. First round and third round rookie running backs hit disproportionately compared to guys they are drafted around more than any other position. Second and third year running backs are some of the best breakout breads every year. You do not need to take a running back in round 1 when these are the other options. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel for daily fantasy football videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be back with all of you very soon.